Hello everyone! In this video, we're going to talk about using a scientific centigram balance. So let's go ahead and begin. First, what is a centigram balance? A centigram balance gets its name from its precision. These balances can measure to the nearest whole centigram, which you recall is 1/100th of a gram or 0.01 grams. For this reason, the display of a centigram balance looks like the one you see below, where there are displayed digits up to the second decimal place. The centigram balance has a very important button. This is the tare button, which often is displayed as a button with the letter T or the 0 symbol. This will reset the display to 0 grams if it is not currently displaying 0. This is useful for canceling the mass of a container so that the display only shows the mass of added contents. However, this is not to be over-relied on, and we will see an example later in this video where you don't want to use the tare button to take measurements. How do we properly use a centigram balance? First, follow the procedure of the experiment. If the procedure asks you to pre-weigh a container, make sure the balance is tared to read 0 before placing it and recording the mass. All digits displayed by any digital instrument, including the centigram balance, are considered significant. Record all significant digits. In the example you see below, you should record 37.60 as the mass of this beaker. In the lab, we'll want to weigh chemicals from time to time, but it's important to avoid spilling chemicals on the balance at all costs. This could damage the balance. Here are some tips to avoid damage. Dispense the chemical, either solids or liquids, into its vessel before placing it on the balance. If you need to add more, remove the vessel from the balance. Add a small amount of additional chemical, then return it to the balance and repeat as necessary. Again, if we pour directly over the balance, any spills could land on the balance and potentially damage that. We would like to avoid that. Additionally, starting with too little of a substance being weighed is always better than starting with too much. Go slowly. You can always add more, but you can't recycle any excess. Extra chemicals must be thrown away. So that's why starting with too little is much better than having too much. The centigram balance is an important instrument used in the weighing by difference method. The weighing by difference method is a way of weighing material that must be weighed in a container, for example, a powder or a liquid that can't be placed directly on the balance. The concept involves conservation of mass. The total mass of two objects is the sum of the individual masses of the two objects. This means that if you need the mass of a powder or liquid inside a container, you subtract the mass of the container. In this slide, we see a visual depiction of the weighing by difference method to weigh a liquid. If we previously weigh the glassware holding the liquid, then weigh the liquid contained in the glassware, then by subtracting the weight of the glassware from the total, we get the weight of the liquid. This is why it's important to pre-weigh glassware when necessary in the procedure and not just tare the glassware itself. Quiz time. We have two visual depictions of using the centigram balance. Which depiction properly weighs a powder on the centigram balance? In both cases, the student tared the beaker before adding the powder. Go ahead and pause the video, inspect choice A and choice B, and give your response. The correct answer is B. We always want to add the powder away from the balance to avoid any contamination that could damage the instrument. Then we place it back on and record the measurement. Notice in choice B that the display is reading negative. It's because the container was already set to 0. So taking the weight off actually makes the display read negative numbers. This is okay. Just be aware that this can happen on the display. Quiz time part 2. A student pre-weighs a container, then weighs it again after filling it with water. Their lab notes are below. What is the weight of the water? Additionally, here are some choices to choose from. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can pick a choice. The correct answer is E. In the weighing by difference method, if we subtract the mass of the container, then the mass of the total minus the container must be the mass of the contents within. That means the mass of the water is 25.00 grams. In summary, centigram balances weigh to the nearest centigram, or 0.01 grams. All displayed digits are considered significant. Record everything that the balance gives you. Never place chemicals directly on the balance. Know how and when to use the tare button. And know how to use your data for the weighing by difference procedure. All right, thank you very much.